Hello, Age of Empires enjoyers. I'm Whammo1, of course, and to start off my new YouTube channel, I'm going to bring you guys a new series of guides on how to play versus X Civ. First video, of course, will be how to play versus the English. One of the most annoying civs to play versus, I must say. However, in this guide, I will teach you how to think like the English, the best thought processes to beat them, and useful tips and strategies. I'm going to look over two replays in detail. First is going to be versus an aggressive English playstyle. Second is going to be versus a boom playstyle. Both of these games are from the recent EGC 1v1 tournament, so everyone here are top level pros. I'm not going to go over builds in this guide, but rather how you should be thinking, what you should be scouting, and how you should react to certain things that they do. So let's jump into the first game now. This game is between Recon and 3DB. They both play slightly different than I do, but with similar thought processes. And along with you guys, we will see how Recon thinks and reacts to B's aggressive playstyle. And in a second here, for the purposes of the video, we're just gonna be using Recon's point of view. Because he is the one playing versus the English, of course. I have watched this video, so I do know that they do slightly different stuff than what I would recommend, but their thought processes, like I said, very good. They're good pros, right? So we can use that and analyze that and see how you should be thinking and playing against the English. I'm actually gonna do a notepad here, so we can just record everything that is good to be doing versus them. So Recon is just gathering sheep. He actually does go military wing here in a second, you'll see. Not something I would recommend, but the strategy that he utilizes is not as important as his thought, his thought processes and really his execution and strategy, right? His build order, sorry, is not as important as his strategy. Anyway, this is starting to get to the important part of the game. You've scouted the sheep, right? Or a bit of the map and still looking for sheep, but now you need to scout the opponent. And this is the first thing you need to do versus the English. You need to scout what they're doing. Even like we know that he's going to rush, but in every game you need to scout what opponent is doing. And in a second here, we're going to see villagers on gold, on stone, question mark. Do they have villagers on stone? Do they have villagers on gold? I mean, their villager distribution will tell you what they're doing. Right? If he has villagers on stone, he's going second TC. If he has a lot of villagers on gold, he's probably either doing upgrades, doing a fast castle. We saw 3 villagers, so that's a bit, but that's not exactly very, very strongly indicating on what he's doing. And Recon is going to check the landmark. Very important, obviously. You have to check their speed on the landmark. How many villagers? See, exactly 4 villagers. So this is going to be a rush. Recon can pretty much know based on the villager distribution that he is rushing him, right? And we're going to see how he reacts to this. Should be with heavy military. And that's exactly what Recon does. He drops a stable instantly. And that comes to my next point against playing versus the English rush. Don't cut corners. Mass units. And use your natural eco advantage to gain a lead. And I'll explain to you what I mean by this in a minute. For instance, Abbasid has tier 1 Golden Age, right? 15% gather rate on all your villagers. Whereas English, if they're rushing you, they're not investing into farms. And even if they are slowly investing into farms, you're maybe get an upgrade or two. Obviously important to scout, but um, you can afford to mass units against the English Rush because you have a naturally better eco than them. So you just want to make as many units as possible to deal with an English Rush. Don't worry about eco as much, just worry about defending the push. And Recon should scout again in a minute here. Is he rushing? You have to confirm. You have to confirm it, right? Because maybe he's baiting you or something. You have to confirm that he is indeed rushing you. And I think that's what Recon does in a moment here. But for the meantime, massing units, getting that golden age tier 1. Gonna do that in a second. Oh, sorry, we just missed that. Recon scouted exactly that B is indeed rushing him. Hopefully he goes back. I'm not sure if he does, but he 100% scouted that, okay, you're rushing him. Alright, I'm gonna reveal the map here. He saw this amount of units, right? 8 Longbowmen, 4 Spearmen. What does Recon have? 4 Archers, 4 Horsemen? If your opponent has equal or more units than you, and you've been producing military the entire time, then you can pretty much confirm that that's a rush, right? They're not investing into other units, into other resources or stuff. They're investing into army. So it's pretty much a confirmation that they're rushing you. He's just scouting, making sure, of course. And again, he sees the army, very big army, right? So just trying to be active with the horsemen. Probably going up to the gold, forcing villagers back, denying upgrades, right? Like, Recon is investing slightly into the stone here. Now, this is something I wouldn't prefer to do, but Recon is choosing to do this, while still making, mostly heavy military. He knows B's rushing and he needs to make a bunch of units. But again, 2 villages on stone, not that much of an investment. Probably just saying, if B is doing something sneaky, like, getting a large eco behind this, then I can get that TC. It's your preference if you want to do this or not. Personally, I wait to wipe the English's army before I go for that second TC, but 2 villages is not a big investment, right? So I'm just going to jot that down just because I think it's something important. And that's something you can do, wiping the English's army before you go for a second TC, because of course they do have to move out on the map at some point if they are rushing you. That's something you can do if you're really struggling with this price tower, right? This is something you can do when maybe you get more experience with it. I'm not gonna try to stop the video too much because it's important to see what he's doing, but another thing, be active with your horsemen. That's something you can use as the defending prior, because English is almost always going to go spearmen, longbowmen, right? You have the mobility advantage. Being active with your units, you can pick off reinforcements, just scout the map, you scout where their army is. You don't have to engage. He's scouting where his army is, he knows exactly what's happening. Trying to pick off reinforcements. Jot something down quick. Be active with your horsemen. And then just add on to that, pick off reinforcements. And I'm gonna see a fight here soon. Recon has scouted the army, right? He knows exactly what B has here, consistently scouting it, and I'm gonna clarify it again because this is the real important strategy you need to be doing versus this rush. You need to be massing units, and I highlighted that this is the most important part. Don't cut corners, mass units, and use your natural eco advantage. What has Recon actually invested into? Like eco-wise, not Bracksmith upgrades. This is not eco. Like does he have a second TC? He has this. He has Wheelbarrow. Other than that, really nothing, right? And that's want to be doing minimal eco upgrades, which eco upgrades are not bad, right? You want to be getting eco upgrades, but you need to defend this first, and that's what Recon is doing. So use your natural eco advantage with every civ. Use your Golden Age while massing units behind. Use the Roost Kremlin to get better wood income so that you can mass units to defend the rush. And because Recon has been massing units this entire time, right? He defends this and he puts himself even further ahead so that he can go into the second TC. Just making the game very, very easy for yourself. I mean, Recon plays this very well, and he's even got the stone with minimal investment, right? 2 villages on stone, not a big deal, and he's getting out the second TC very quick now. So he's very far ahead in this game. Even the supply tells you that. The income should tell you that. Oh, I'm actually surprised at the food, but maybe that's because he's going second TC. The income any minute now should be very heavily favored for Recon. Speed up the game to show you that. And also his army is obviously much bigger, right? Again, scouting B just to make sure, what is he doing? I can't stress how important scouting is versus someone who's rushing you, right? You need to know what's going on in the map. Recon opting to go castle. Now it could get dicey for him. You really have an option when you defend a rush like this so well. And Recon's choosing to go castle, maybe because he's scared of men-at-arms. But it may get dicey for him, but he has a second TC, right? He has an army still. But this is calculated, so see what happens. Picking off reinforcements again, being active with horsemen, can't stress that enough. That's just part of scouting the map, right? Anyway, once he reaches castle, this game, honestly, it doesn't look that good for Recon. That's pretty bad. But he is pretty far ahead. He is nowhere near castle age. He has very little eco investment. And he has no way to deal with these men-at-arms or these knights. I mean, again, Recon deciding to age up is making this game look more dicey or whatever, like I said, but he's still winning. I can just speed up the game because it is pretty much over. B has, like I said, no way to get H3. And you'll see throughout this game and the next game that playing versus English, it's a very reactionary play style. And that's why scouting is so important, because you're always reacting to what they're doing. You're not as proactive as maybe some other civs, which is fine because you do have the natural eco advantage that you can utilize. And that's why you're so proactive, right? I mean, that's why you're so reactive. Yeah, and Recon does end up winning the game here. I won't show you that, but he does.